Can the Ravens pull off a turnaround for the ages? I don't know, but they are a team that could still do a heck of a lot of damage. Time for another look at the AFC playoff race heading into Week 8. The calculations come from the Playoff Computer app. Check it out for your fantasy football or just about any head-to-head league. All sorts of geeky data. You can even analyze pro leagues like the NFL. And for an entire year, the premium level is about the price of one beer. Let's begin by updating the interconference records. The NFC continued to pick up wins over AFC opponents in Week 7, now up 25-13. That is right now slightly lowering the target for an AFC wildcard spot. So some of the more troubled teams might be able to have 9 wins be good enough. Anyway, moving on. The team in the AFC with the highest statistical chance to make the playoffs is still the Indianapolis Colts. We often have a team or two still undefeated at this point, and certainly a few one-loss teams now wouldn't be unheard of. But this year, we just have one, and here they are. Trounced the Chargers, watched the Jaguars lose, giving them a 2-game lead for the division, and really almost looking like locks for it. 70% technically, and above 9-10 to make the playoffs. Blemish-free conference record. So wins over possible playoff contending teams Broncos and Chargers now. Won't hurt if they somehow don't win the AFC South. Should just need to find 4 more wins to be safely in the playoffs. A game at home against the Titans should get them one closer. The Patriots eventually woke up and let Mike Vrabel to victory over the Titans for their 4th win in a row, keeping ahead of the Bills for the AFC East lead. Of course, they have the earlier win over the Bills and thus don't have to worry about losing the head-to-head tiebreaker against them. And they are another top team that gets an inferior opponent this week, hosts the Browns, and they only have 2 remaining opponents that are currently above 500. The Broncos tried for 3 quarters to give away a winnable game, then went all fast and furious to beat the Giants for the 4th straight win. That keeps them a game up on the Chiefs, and with the Chargers losing, they are a game up on them as well. So as it stands, they're about a 3 out of 4 mathematical chance to make the playoffs. Interesting game in Mile High Land against the Cowboys. A win would really put them in good shape as they have a couple of win-challenged opponents upcoming, Texans and Raiders. If they can keep the mojo going and win these next 3, that would be 8-2 heading into a game facing the Chiefs with around a 96% chance of making the playoffs. The Steelers cracked the door open for the Bengals, and Joe Flacco barged in. And now they play the Packers and Red Hot Colts for the next 2, both at home. Right now, a 58% chance to win the division and 73% to make the playoffs. They might be hoping the dysfunction of the other AFC North teams continues and they can just kind of coast in. The Bills rested for the week, fell a little behind the Patriots at 4-2, still around 7 out of 10 to make the playoffs. Maybe not a must-win game against the Panthers this week, but probably don't want to invite the possibility of being 4-4 with the Chiefs afterwards. The Chargers were embarrassed by the Colts to fall to 4-3 with a Thursday night game against the Vikings. Will they get back on the horse and go to 5-3 or fall to even before everyone else plays? If they can hang around despite their injuries, they still have the 3 wins against the rest of the division for tiebreaker purposes. The Jekyll and Hyde Jaguars come up next. Now resting after losing to the Rams in London. The division is starting to slip out of reach, but playoff odds are still pretty good, 6 out of 10 chances. After their bye, they get right games against the Raiders and Texans, both away though. Looking into the future, 2 head-to-head results that might come into tiebreaker play later, a loss to the Bengals and a win against the Chiefs. As with most of the teams, they should need about 6 more wins, and by luck, they have 6 opponents the rest of the way that are currently below 500. The Kansas City Chiefs' fortunes continue to upswing. Shut out the Raiders to get above 500. Now have a game against the Commanders, who will be without Jaden Daniels, so they should be well set up to be 5-3 for that match against the Bills before their bye, much to the disappointment of the rest of the AFC West. The Bengals with a must-win over the Steelers to get back into the thick of things. Computer says they would be in good shape with just 9 wins at the end of the year. Have the Jets at home this week to get back to 500, which would put them at over a 50-50 shot to make the playoffs. On the other hand, the Texans halted their attempts to get back into the playoff race, falling to 2-4 and just not looking all that good against the Seahawks. They continue a tough stretch with the 49ers and Broncos as part of a remaining schedule featuring 8 teams above 500 at the moment. They're going to need to win at least one of the next 2 to stay relevant. The Raiders are going to be one of those teams whose only playoff dreams rest in hoping that 9 wins or even 8 ends up being good enough, although I'm not sure how they even get to 8 wins. On bye right now, then start the must-win games against the Jaguars next week, currently under a 1-in-5 chance. The Browns managed to stay on the fringes of the race with a win over the hapless Dolphins. Going to need an upset in New England to stay in it. The Ravens come in next at 1-5 after their bye week. Play the Bears at home. Not much room for error to miracle a comeback. They do have, it's not really an advantage so much as an opportunity. They've only played 1 division game so far, meaning they have 5 remaining. Their small chances to make the playoffs mostly rest in being able to storm the AFC North, and they would have decent chances of doing that were they to get to 9 wins. If they can somehow take 4 of 5 of those remaining division games, beat the Dolphins and Jets as they should, if I punch that in right now, that would put them at around a 7-in-10 chance to make the playoffs with 4 games left in question. Tennessee Titans, 1-6 after losing to the Patriots, 0-5 in the conference, 5% chance. Play the Colts and Indy, already realistically out of division contention. Miami Dolphins, 1-6 after losing to the Browns, 4% chance. Doesn't look good. I hear the New York Jets' problems would be solved if they could complete a pass. Computer says they would pretty much need to win out to make the playoffs. I think I will take the under. That's it for now. Check out the Playoff Computer app for your own playoff race analysis needs and enjoy your day.